Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, April 3rd, 2019. I am Rochelle Baptiste with the details. There is no reason why whale watching and whale catching cannot coexist here in SVG. That's the comment made by Director of Grenadines Affairs Edwin Snag in a telephone interview today with SVG-TV News in relation to the recent killing of a humpback whale on Bequia last Thursday. The catch reignite calls for an end to whale catching and instead encourage the practice of whale watching as a viable source of economic returns for SVG. Snag, who is also SVG's commissioner to the International Whaling Commission, said the local practice of whale catching is considered internationally and part of Bequia's culture. He said under international laws, SVG is allowed to catch up to 4 humpback whale a year, a quota which has never been reached. Snag said there is a variety of whales which pass through the waters of SVG, and he sees nothing preventing whale watching and catching from coexisting.
Also, the joint proposal was made by the U.S., St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Russian Federation, and Denmark/Greenland. So what is happening is that we have not caught our quota of whales, the four whales for years, basically because we don't really see the amount of whales coming down in these parts. If persons want to engage in whale watching, they're free to do so, because until then, in fact, some people may consider whale watching not only to be the large humpback whale that we catch, but the small pilot whales and dolphins and things of that nature. But there is nothing that says that both of them cannot coexist. Who wants to watch whale could watch whale, and who wants to take them, you know, the original whalers who want to take whales have a particular mandate under the IWC to do so.
Snag said the practice of whale catching in Bequia is completely different from commercial whaling, which many international countries do not support. He said it is important for an island like SVG to preserve its culture and identity.
Is that you have a certain level of independence and sovereignty, and people have their culture and people have their history. And do you sacrifice everything on the altar, and you will always be mandated to listen to what comes from other people, and you're forced and put in a position where you actually boxed in, and you want to tell us how our culture should be, what we should eat, what we should not eat, and that sort of thing, you know, because nobody has a problem with us eating corned beef or sardines or, you know, anything of that nature. So what really, you know, I mean, is the issue with persons who want to engage in the eating of whale meat, when they have done that historically for 100 and something plus years.
The Director of Grenadines Affairs says the cultural activity is also done following strict procedures to ensure sustainability.
It's actually the use of sustainable use of our marine resources. You know what I mean? We have a particular quota, and we keep within the boundaries of our quota, never exceeded it. As a matter of fact, we haven't done so for years. We have not even reached the quota, you know. And of course, there are certain management procedures that are involved. One has to report to the IWC. You have to report every take that you make. You have to send DNA samples. You have to give the measurements of the fluke and the length of the animal, and there are a lot of checks and balances, and this is managed by the Fisheries Division, who provides the information to the IWC.
In a public statement on the recent catch in Bequia, Director of the SVG Preservation Fund, Louise Mitchell-Joseph, condemned the action and appealed for an end to the practice. Minister of Tourism, Sports and Culture, Cecil Sasmaki, said a lot of work had been done to develop all aspects of SVG's tourism product, including in the area of ecotourism. Speaking at the launch of the Bekwe Easter Regatta and onshore activities yesterday, Minister Maki said that ecotourism is a niche market that they are exploring to capture the attention of nature lovers.
To do the diving, the sailing, the weddings, the honeymoons, and we have been building on the cultural festival aspect of things and also the sport tourism aspect, and recently you would have seen on the news the agro-tourism aspect. So we would use all of these mechanisms to highlight what we have to offer in terms of ecotourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have been also working through the National Parks, Rivers and Beaches Authority to ensure that we continue to develop our tourism sites which fit into the whole aspect of eco, our trails, our lasso fare, our nature trails. We have about 14 now managed tourism sites that also allow you to have some natural experience.
Minister Maki said cultural events such as the Bekwe Easter Regatta and onshore activities is another way of promoting ecotourism. At the same time, Chairman of the Bekwe Easter Regatta Committee, Chris K, said this year's regatta will be greener than ever.
So these are, we're going to utilize the festivals because, as you just heard me indicate, that these persons, when they come for these festivals, we encourage them to also experience what we have to offer, which includes the eco aspect of things. So in all of our festivals, all of the events that we collaborate with the organizing groups, we encourage persons to experience St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Arguably, we have the most diverse tourism product of any of the countries in the region, and this is what we're doing. We're developing all aspects of it, so that we will become the #1 tourism destination in the region, and I'm confident that we can get there.
Can I also add to what Minister said? As far as the regatta is concerned, and like has been mentioned on the shore side, we're trying to make this year's regatta greener than ever. So we're taking various steps to minimise paper use, to improve on recycling, and to eliminate the single-use plastics materials. And that's being done in conjunction with our other sponsors, all our sponsors, and particularly Action Bekwe.
Representative of the SVG Tourism Authority, Natasha Anderson, appealed to various businesses to lend support to cultural activities such as the Bekwe Easter Regatta.
At this time, I would also like to thank all the major sponsors and all the regular small businesses that sponsor both the onshore and the Bekwe Sailing Committee. It is a very important thing for sponsors big and small to come on board, and we must congratulate those who take on that corporate responsibility and do it time after time, year after year. But I also would like for new businesses to see the opportunity where they can gain the mileage, whether it's given in kind in terms of your actual volunteering or in terms of money. Please do so if you can. We encourage you and we look forward to seeing you on board, if not for 2019, because we're almost there in Easter, for 2020.
The Resilient Environment and Agricultural Caribbean Habitat Reach project will take place here tomorrow as part of a two-day event to initiate the project. The launching event will take place at the Methodist Church Conference Hall in Kingston from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labour, Suboto Caesar, will be the keynote speaker, while remarks will be delivered by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Raymond Ryan, the Chief Agricultural Officer Ashley Kane, along with regional partners, including the Deputy Executive Director of the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, CDEMA, Elizabeth Riley. The objective of the Resilient Environment and Agriculture Caribbean Habitat Reach project is to enhance the capability of small farmers and their communities to organize and manage agriculture disaster risk management initiatives through improved access to and joint management of relevant agro-information flows on a two-way basis system and joint design and implementation of adequate agricultural risk management practices to enhance their resilience to shocks and hazards. The REACH project builds on existing institutional experience at Caribbean and national level and on results of several previous initiatives focused on agriculture disaster risk management and resilience enhancement in Caribbean rural communities. The project will be implemented over a 10-month period ending December 31st, 2019 through a partnership between several regional agencies under the overall coordination of the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization, the FAO, with financial support of the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation. A modernized $7 million health complex is now accessible to residents in the Maricopa Valley following yesterday's official opening ceremony. The Levi Latham Health Complex was built under the EU's modernization of the health sector project with input from the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Larissa Pugs-the-Kid tells us more in this report.
The Levi Latham Health Complex boasts a new accident and emergency department, nursery stations, and delivery section with an additional 5-bed maternity suites. The health complex, which was officially opened at a special ceremony on Tuesday, is expected to benefit more than 15,000 residents in the Maricopa constituency. It replaces the old clinic that was at the very location. Speaking at the opening ceremony was Minister of Health Luke Brown, who spoke of the additional health services which will be accessible to residents.
The polyclinic would enhance access to healthcare services through longer opening hours, access to medical specialists in areas that were hitherto unavailable, for example, ophthalmology or with respect to the eyes, urology, radiology, nutrition services, and physiotherapy. In other words, the polyclinic would allow daily access to a comprehensive healthcare package ranging from health promotion and protection to curative and specialist services.
Delivering the feature address, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves raised the issue of having nurses and doctors on call after regular working hours, an issue he said that will be addressed.
And we have to make sure that the clinics are able to function after 4 o'clock in the afternoons. And I want the nurses to hear me on this. I want the nurses to hear me on this. The nurses will be there until 4, maybe 5 o'clock. They don't like to stay in the clinics anymore, even if you fix up the living quarters properly.
The Levi Latham Health Complex is one of 2 polyclinics that was funded by a grant from the European Union under the 10th EDF Modernization of the Health Sector project. Representing the EU at Tuesday's opening ceremony was Louis Mayer, who lauded the government of SVG for striving for improved access to healthcare for citizens.
Modernization of an entire health sector is a gigantic task for any country. It requires interventions in many interconnecting pillars, such as legislation, infrastructure, human resources, services provision, maintenance of equipment, public engagements, and financing. We commend the government of St. Vincent and Grenadines for its efforts to modernize the health system of the country and improve the services provided to the population.
Area Representative St. Clair Jimmy Prince noted the challenges of accessing quality health care and said it is a great accomplishment for residents in Mariaquaw.
In those days, we had tremendous community leadership. And even if the representative, Mr. Latham, was not amenable to what was going on, they would force him to do so. And I'm happy to see today a stalwart among us who was part of that, Mr. Thomas Augustus Brown, better known as Chippy. Skip, thank you very much and welcome.
Another polyclinic in Buckermont is expected to be opened in 2 weeks' time. Reporting for SVG-TV News, Larissa Pogsley-Kidd.
Vincentian Chad Graves is among 5 OECS social entrepreneurs nominated to participate in the One Young World Summit 2019. This is part of the OECS Commission's commitment to drive youth development in the region. The One Young World Summit will be held in London in the United Kingdom from October 22nd to the 25th this year. This summit seeks to encourage peer-to-peer learning, mentorship by leading figures in various sectors who pursue social reform and change, and provide the opportunity for global networking among young social leaders. For this reason, the Commission said it has sought to ensure that the region is well represented by individuals engaging in innovative initiatives which have and/or promises to have a high social impact at both the national and regional levels. The other selected individuals are from Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and Dominica. Graves' initiative is in the field of education, dubbed Vinci Aspire, which seeks to use technology to promote the social and educational development of youth. The Literacy Association today hosted a digital journey to literacy book club festival at the Lodge Village Government School. A number of primary school students from across SVG took part in today's activity, which started off with a march. The students were dressed as different storybook characters wearing wood hats along with big handmade storybooks promoting the love of reading. The children were involved in several activities including clubs presentations, storytelling and response, art and craft, face painting, game treasure hunt, and a read aloud exercise which seeks to develop their communication skills with other children. Parent and Secretary General of the UNESCO SVG, Janelle Henry Rose, told SVGTV News that the book club is a very important program for the children across SVG, and she has no doubt it would help them to become better readers.
Realize though is the involvement and the excitement of the children who are all here. We noted even though there weren't many hats, we noted that there were some children who went ahead and they did really large books with stories, and we had a very good reader there who did a story. Particularly we liked how Mrs. Blake Brown brought over certain aspects of literacy in her performance there. We noted that children who would have read certain books, they were actually portraying the characters in the books, and that is good. So children are stimulated. I want to encourage all the other children that if you are not reading, if you have not read some of those stories, if you did not hear the story that was told this morning, that you're missing out. It pays to start reading so that you will understand, even though you do not physically go to places. We know that with reading, you dream, you think, you enter the characters, you enter the book, and so you go a lot of places.
A teacher and a student who our news team spoke with at today's event both agreed that the literacy activities are very important in stimulating children to read more, which is important for their future development.
Be a fun and successful day at the school, and I think we have a lot of fun, and we are already learning things. We are already seeing the participation that some schools have been given in the morning, and going into the next half I'm looking forward to it. Encourage children to read books because it will help their vocabulary in school, and when they go to do like extracurricular activities that they could read read and know what some words mean when they go out. If they go overseas, they will understand some of the languages.
I love the event. I know we have reading problems in our schools, and anything that would motivate children to read. I know there are a lot of children who they only see reading as something to do with their subject areas, or mommy send you in your books, it's punishment. But if you're here today, you would see that reading is fun, and maybe that would encourage children to read. Well, the thing is, parents can start reading to their children from in the womb to develop that love for reading early, and it definitely helps them later on in life. And once you can read, all the other subject areas would come naturally. So read every day, let the children see the parents reading, encourage them. Instead of other toys, you can buy them books, and that would help.
I think that this activity, which has been put on today by the St. Vincent Grenadines Literacy Association, it's a great activity to motivate children towards reading and want to be engaged in reading. Yes, reading is very fundamental. Reading is important. When you read, there's so much things you can learn. You can learn about places that you have never traveled to. So reading is very important for instructions. If you're traveling, you want to find a place, you don't know where to find it, as long as there are, prints in streets and so on, you can read to find your way. So